Hello everybody, good morning. Welcome to today's video on Ringneck 101. I'll be talking a little bit about this guy, one of my favorite parrots, which is an Indian ringneck. I'll be giving some tips on how to care for it and what are good ways to socialize your parrot when it's young like this one. This guy is about 13 weeks old. He's not at his full year. And do note, this kind of parrot, when they're young, they're usually crazy. And I'm not saying it in a bad way. They usually go into a stage where they're gonna act like an adolescent teenager, in which you be quiet, I'm gonna do whatever I want, and I don't care about your opinion. They are gonna try to bite you. They are gonna try to hate on you. They are gonna try to resist your love and care. But you gotta learn to work around it. If you retaliate, and I mean as in retaliate and push back to their bad behavior, the bird most likely, when it goes through that stage of high hormones and it's learning to transform himself from a young adolescent to his first year, and the bird finally gets a little maturity, you're gonna develop a bird that has a bad character, and it's going to attack you. And another thing that I want to focus and give attention is that these birds require a lot of attention. You gotta have enough toys on your cage for the bird. You gotta have spare toys because the bird's gonna destroy it, which is not a bad thing. If the bird destroys the toy, it's totally okay because the bird is showing you signs that it's happy. It loves his environment. It loves your household. And it loves you as a person. Another thing to really take note is these birds will go crazy if you have them caged most of the time. They will develop an attitude to where they're going to attack you if you don't give them attention. And a lot of these things, based on their attitude, sometimes are very hard to reverse. So basically, your parrot is going to stay the way it is, angry. It will bite. And trust me, they rip your skin off. So if you are not going to give this parrot enough attention or devote your time to get a hold of the parrot, cuddle it, talk to it, love it, then I'm afraid this is not the pet for you, because these parrots, as socializing, caring, and funny as they are, they could also be very lethal if you neglect them and choose to ignore them when they're doing whatever it takes to grab your attention. It's basically like every parrot. If you don't give it attention, even one parrot I can compare them that I have at home as well, which is a Gen Day Conure. It's basically the same thing. If I go ahead and neglect him too, he's gonna start attacking me because I'm not giving him proper attention. And that's basically what goes on with these parents. If you don't give them proper attention, a lot of those problems they develop sometimes cannot get reversed because this kind of parent does need a lot of attention. And also, when it comes to socializing the parrot, I mean, it's up to every person. Mines are always clipped from the wings. Every 6 weeks, I take him into the bird shop. I bought him for those that live where I live in Southern California, near the LA area. I bought mines at Canoga Discount Birds, a very wonderful store that sells all kinds of birds, and they're very helpful when you're choosing a feathered buddy to bring home. But like I was saying, mines are not on a harness. I don't harness my birds. They're just clipped from their wings. They have their actual nails done so they won't stab my skin. And I usually take them out every day where I go. If I go shopping, if I go to the park, anywhere I go, I try to take my birds to socialize them. It is always proper to socialize a baby bird like this one, because if you don't socialize them when they're children, you're going to have a hard time to socialize them once they turn 1 year old or they get old enough. The whole point is to take the bird out, have them look around and record an understanding of his surroundings. Have the bird understand and actually know where he is and be aware of his surroundings. So the bird knows that it's okay to be outside, and it would learn to socialize among every person and stranger you encounter in the place you are shopping or wherever you are. That's basically a good way to socialize your bird. Because if you don't socialize it, whenever you take the bird out, it'll probably get startled and attempt to fly away. Another thing to notice when you're socializing a bird is that birds do go crazy when you socialize them. Well, not technically crazy, but they are not gonna stay still, is what I'm trying to say. Just like you see this guy going around my shirt right now. That's basically what they do when you're socializing them as young baby birds. They are not gonna stay still in one spot. They might go from one shoulder to the other. They might go down and try to snap at stuff when you are taking a look at merchandise. Depending on where you're shopping or where you're at, they're gonna try to bite stuff. That's totally normal because I mean they're just babies, so they're not gonna be as still and quiet as any adult bird that's already 1 to 2 years old. So when they're babies like this guy here, as you see in the picture here, if I lower the camera, they really are not gonna be still and they're gonna be dancing around your neck. And another thing to take a note of is that, in my personal opinion, when you are socializing the bird, yes, I've gotten people out there asking me, hey, your bird is cute, I love your bird, can I pet it? I usually say no, because no, I don't allow people to pet my bird. I just tell them, yes, you can see the bird. Go ahead and snap a picture with your smartphone, but please do not touch the bird. Because this is the thing about birds, and it varies from bird to bird and depending on their attitude. My birds are very social amongst my family. So anybody in the family that comes over, they like to look at family members and pop into the conversation, and they'll sit on any family member's shoulder as everybody's talking and running their mouth. They like to be in the conversation. But when it comes to socializing, my birds and I go out and about, they will puff their feathers, and sometimes, or should I say most of the times, they will try to bite anybody that tries to pet them. Why? Because that's what I have taught my birds to do. I've taught them to understand the difference between socializing with anybody in my household or family members that come around, and the difference between socializing out there and having just any stranger try to pet him or asking me, hey, can I perch him in my finger? Can I hold him? No, that's not gonna happen. I'm sorry, but no. That's just the way I've educated my birds. As far as feeding the Indian ringnecks, yes, you gotta make sure you have them on a balanced diet so they won't get tired of what they gotta eat. You gotta make sure you keep them on a balanced pellet diet. Make sure they eat pellets, seeds. You have them on vegetables such as broccoli, anything that's green, etc., etc. You can also give them strawberries, berries, apple. Just make sure that apple does not have part of the heart where the seeds are, because those seeds are very bad for parrots. You can also give them melon. You can also give them watermelon. Just make sure you give them the seedless watermelon. You can also give them chicken. Chicken does have a lot of protein, but it has to be given to them in small quantities. You can also give them anything you are eating, because they'll eat anything. Pizza, fries, whatever. But you should give greasy foods to parrots. If you have an Indian ringneck, give them greasy foods in small quantities. Why? Because if you start introducing them to fatty foods, all they're going to do is get fat, develop diseases, and there ain't going to be no nutrition going into their body. Another thing to do is try not to give them sunflower seeds too often. The thing about feeding parrots sunflowers is that the sunflower is one thing parrots are desperate for. Parrots will get sensationally addicted to sunflowers. The bad part is that putting sunflower seeds in a separate bowl or recipient next to their originally normal diet would actually take the parrot towards the sunflowers, and they'll forget their mixed pellet and seeded diet, and they'll eat sunflowers the whole day. I mean, sunflowers, they're not toxic for the parrot, but in high quantities, since they do not have any nutrients in them, the parrot is actually gonna get obese, overweight, and it can develop certain diseases. You could find the names of those diseases if you go on Google and Google if it's good or not to give your parrot sunflowers. As far as caging, and I will turn the camera around so you can see the cage right now. You gotta have a proper cage for this kind of bird. The thing about Indian ringnecks is that they are 16 centimeters in length. Meaning, this type of bird from head to tail, which the tail makes most of their size, is 16 centimeters. You have to have a cage that's tall enough to accommodate the bird, as well as wide enough to accommodate the bird's tail, in which the tail can freely stretch from wherever the bird is perched to however long the tail is, and not be obstructed by any of the wires of the cage, to where the tail can bend in an awkward position and be vulnerable to bendage or possibly break due to the fact that the bird is in a compact and small space. The bird cage I have, which I will be showing in a minute, it's actually a 68 centimeter tall cage shaped in a perfect square, wide enough to accommodate my both ringnecks, which I really enjoy the cage. And there you go. That is the actual cage where I have both of my ringnecks. The one you see right there at the moment is Frosty. That's my Indian ringneck, turquoise color, greenish, bluish. I'm not really gonna give him a color because, I mean, when I have socialized them outside, a lot of people tell me, oh, to me it looks green, to me it looks blue. But it's actually bluish, greenish, kind of like a teal turquoise color. That's the one you see right there on top of his bird bowl. And the other one on top is the one you guys saw that I introduced to the video, which is Coco. That's my Indian ringneck albino. And over there I have a blue mask lovebird, a female lovebird with orange with an orange face. On top, I have a Gende conure with a Australian parakeet, budgie. But it's not the regular budgie, it's the mutated version, the bigger one. I'll be making a separate video on conure care later on. And as for these guys, that's their cage. A very roomy cage with, as you see up there, a big perch with a bowl of food. I do have a bowl of water on the top pan, and that's the bottom of their cage. I know their big shower bowl is dirty. I haven't cleaned their cage, which I'll be doing in a minute. And that's the bottom of the bottom pan of the cage. That's a spiral rope I have on the cage, perches, a hanger toy. I do need to purchase new toys for them because those are already with enough wear and tear. And that's a little house, triangular house that was made by my mother. And as for the food I feed these guys, I will be showing it right now, which is considered oatmeal seeds. This is what I feed them. It's basically oatmeal seed. That's what I give them. I mean, they like it. I used to have them on a pellet diet, but the bad thing about having them in that diet, they would actually not like the pellets, which they don't. They would actually only eat the seeds and leave the pellet behind. When I started feeding them what I showed you, the oatmeal seeds, they really got into it and they enjoy it. So they eat it, they love it, and it's actually been very good for them. They've kept themselves very healthy. I also feed them greens. I feed them blackberries, strawberries, carrots. The only thing you should not feed them is anything that has acid, such as lemons or oranges, even tangerines. Anything in that family that has acid is not good to feed them. Sometimes I do pour a little bit of apple juice, which is, I try to look for organic apple juice that's it's not concentrated. So I do give them some apple juice, but mixed with their food, which I water it. I put apple juice in their food, then I mix it till the food soaks it up, and they actually like to eat that way. And well, that's it for the first video. And remember, always socialize your birds when they're young. Take them out, introduce them to the world, introduce them to their surroundings, so they understand and know the world around them, and then makes it easier for them to be social. And that just depends on what way you want to educate your own bird. I educate my birds based on their personality. I do teach them to be very social with all my family members, playful, to enjoy playtime with any of my family members that come over. But once I do take him outside, I try to train him to the point to where it's okay to interact and look at other people. Or if somebody wants to take a picture, it's okay for them to post for the person's camera. But when it comes to let me touch or pet your bird, I have taught them to not allow nobody else to touch him besides myself, my mother, or anybody that comes over from the family. Well, that's it for today's video. I'll catch you guys on the next one, and I'll be showing you what are more tips on how to care for your Indian ringneck, of course. I'll show you the basics of the cage, how to maintain the cage, how to clean it, what are good ways to place any purchase, or what kind of toys are good to have in the cage to make sure your bird is happy during the day while you're gone to work. And always remember, Indian ringneck requires a lot of attention. If it's the kind of parrot you want to have at home, go ahead and go to your local avian specialized store or a pet store that sells them. Get a hold of one, and you will not regret it, because they are very funny and they make such adorable pets. Till next video, have a good one, and I'll see you then.